think we are alive. Sorry, I'm late. I'm 5 minutes late. I had a tadpole situation. If you're unaware, this has nothing to do with the art, but I just want to tell you why I'm late. This doesn't work at normal jobs, but I'm my own boss, so I can get away with this excuse. Tadpoles. So I've had tadpoles I've been trying to raise for my Santa Isabel dart frogs. Got a huge vivarium over here. Planted beautiful, oh, moss, it's so pretty. I've got to do a studio tour very soon. But anyway, I've been trying to raise their babies or get their tadpoles to turn for like since August of last year. Not even kidding. These tadpoles are not changing. And then I look over and two of them have, some of them have morphed, but not many. So two of them popped front legs. And if I didn't quickly get them, because it was sometime today or yesterday, I actually didn't check on them yesterday, they'll drown if I don't move them into a proper container where they can get out and breathe air. So I had to take care of that really quick. And that's what took me a few minutes. So anyway, two new babies are coming out of the water. So that's exciting. And we have our first super chat from Kirsten. Thank you so much. Do you boys want your first super chat? They're like, no, it's too early. I think, look, Wade's mouth is starting to water. You can tell because he's opening and closing it, but he doesn't believe. Okay, come on. I'm not lying. You get a super chat from Kirsten. Thank you so much. There we go. See, thank you. Oh, tasty noms. Okay. Thanks again, Kirsten. Boys definitely are happy about that. Okay, go lay down. Down. So they didn't even believe that they were getting a treat right away. Gibson, down. So today we had a lot of requests last year for oil pastels. Not last year, yesterday. I didn't get a nap today, and I've had 2 cups of coffee to make up for it. So that's just a nightmare for everyone involved. Like, I don't talk fast enough, but also my brain is definitely not working from lack of sleep. So anyway, there we go. We are working in oil pastels because, like I said, you guys requested this. And if you're on Patreon, we had a new lesson go live today. This is actually 2 of the flowers from that lesson that I'm going to be doing. They probably won't be as good because, you know, we're limited on time, but we can still get an idea. What happened to my camera? Of how this goes. Let's see. There we go. So I've got my reference photo, which is actually the 2 Photoshop flowers from my other bigger lesson with all the flowers. Actually, I can show you that one here. This is the one for Patreon. So you guys have the full bigger, the glare is really bad on that. It's not as vibrant as it looks in person, but you guys have that over there. So this is going to be, we're actually doing this flower, and then a couple of these little guys. So we need to get started. This is not a good day for me to be running late because this is actually going to be a little bit of a longer one probably. So this may run a little long. Okay, so I've already drawn everything out with my tracing paper, and then I use transfer paper to transfer the image onto the paper. You don't really have to worry about using a light hand or the line being too dark. Oil pastels are going to go on there so thick it will cover it completely. Also, after the live stream, I have to tell you about Matt's new chicken. I can tell you now. Somebody was rehoming a male Indian ringneck who is gorgeous, and they happened to be right by his work, and so he went and got that bird. His name is Loki, like my comic book nerd husband, and the bird's name was already Loki, and it's a male ringneck, which Matt has been wanting. So yeah, anyway, he's a sweetie too. So that's kind of exciting. It's been a weird day. Okay, and I've got my oil pastel. No, my Mona Lisa Odorless Mineral Spirits is mud because of the last project, so we'll see. I may have to clean that out, but I think we'll be okay. So that is off to the side. The first thing we're going to do is start on the background. I want to get this yellowy orange base, and we're going to fade that into blue. So I'm going to take my oil pastels, and all of the supplies I'm using are listed in the video description. This is Senlier, and you can see how I'm getting already some orange coming off on there. Look how dirty the tip of that is. That actually blue is on there. I do want to wipe the blue off. I don't care if there's orange. I really don't want a lot of blue though. So let's get that cleaned up. And we are just gonna slap that in there. Now this will be matted, and a lot of this, the mat cuts off to about here. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out a little bit farther so that we don't have a gap of white showing between the mat. And if you are in the US and you like this style of art, bright and colorful basically, the link to bid on this is in the video description. Let's see, so we've got that. I'm gonna get some blue in here. Let's grab some of these. Give me 1 second. I'll pull out a few of the colors that I used on this one. I don't remember if it was this one or this one. I'm gonna guess this one. Whoops, that's really muddy. That's got, see, I need to remember to clean off the ends. There we go. Now I'm going to switch to a darker blue, and the colors I'm not reading because they're actually really hard for me to see on here. Where is this? Yeah, it just has numbers. I don't know. Oh wait, this is blue chromium green. That doesn't look like blue chromium green to me at all. Who's choking over there? And this is also dirty, so it's getting a little bit of that purpley color. Now, when you first start with the oil pastels, this is going to be really muddy, or not muddy, really it's going to look like child crayon work. That's normal. We're going to use the OMS and blend this out. And as I move down into this one, I'm going to switch to this darker indigo. Oh, hey, I think I actually called it indigo on the Patreon video because I wasn't sure what colors I was using, so I was making them up in the video for you. Don't worry, I warned you not to listen to my names. I think that may be the only name I got right, or accurate, I should say. Okay. And I'm going to pull a little bit of, let's see, I should have, this is Cobalt Violet Light. I'm just going to do a little bit right in between these colors, so my transition from the yellows into the blues is not just straight green. Okay, let's see how muddy this is. So I'm going to use my OMS. And I always use Viva Paper Towel. This is very important. If you've got normal paper towels, it does not play nice with your odorless mineral spirit. It like one drop just soaks up into the whole paper towel. So either an old rag or Viva Paper Towels. That's it. Those are your only options. And occasionally someone will say like the shop, not shop towels, but shop like the paper towels, the blue ones. No, it's still maybe a little bit better than Bounty, but not good. You want Viva. And I want to make sure that's clean because I was using this, well, when did I do the original? On Monday. So I want to make sure that brush is clean, and I do that just by dipping it in the odorless mineral spirits. It is a brush cleaner. And then dabbing that, drying it to make sure it comes off pretty clean. It's got a little bit of a lavender, but close enough on the paper towel. And we're just going to blend that. Now the challenge I'm going to run into tonight is I'm using a lot of OMS in this paper. It's the Senlier paper, their oil pastel paper, which is wonderful, by the way. I've got a pad over there. I can show you the pad on it later. Again, supplies in the video description. This paper for oil pastels, like hands down the best I've ever used. I've used thicker paper, different types of paper over the years. Years ago when I used to use oil pastels more. Nothing even comes close to this paper. I love it so much. And you don't have to have the full set. I got the big, like whatever their big set that comes in the wood box. I forget how many colors are in there, a lot. You don't need that many colors. They blend and mix really well. So if you're looking at those and you're looking for a budget-friendly way, I still recommend getting good oil pastels. Now, I've not reviewed or done a lot of oil pastels. I've not actually hadn't used them in years. The only time I really use them are the ones that come in the Smart Art box, and those are going to be like, I want to say Pentel I'd used. They were not amazing. But the quality of oil pastel does matter. Like I said, the Pentel ones, Crayola, all of those, they tend to be really translucent and just overall kind of crappy. So they're fun to use. I'm not saying you can't have fun. I'm just saying you're going to get different, like the pigment, it's a noticeable difference. So these are much more enjoyable to use for sure, but you can mix your colors pretty well, so you don't need to get the big, huge set. So if you're looking at wanting to get into oil pastels but not wanting to spend a lot of money, I would get a smaller set of good pastels. And again, I'm not saying Senlier is the only good one. I know there are other good ones. I just trust them because I like their watercolors. But you can, my brain shut down. Oh yeah, so fewer colors of a good brand is what I would recommend over a million colors of Crayola or something like that. Okay, so this doesn't need to be perfect. All I need is a base. I'm going to be putting colors on top where it starts getting slippery and you start getting, like it feels slippery as you're working on it, and it gives you that really oil pastel look. But right now, just as a base, I want to get that in there and let that dry. So while that is drying, I'm going to clean my brush. And we're going to get a base for our flowers. So I have, where's my white? Actually, I need a new white because mine, I worked down into a tiny little nub which one is this? That should work. Get extra white when you order them. So I know that I want a lot of light right in here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. It's going to help the paper to stay really light. And I know these guys are going to stay light. I'm going to need to pull blue around them where I missed. And I'm giving it medium pressure. I'm not pushing super hard. You really don't need to. And that stays dark. We've got here is going to be lighter. And then the rest of these I'm going to fill in with yellow. And I don't even need to really worry about staying inside the line or anything like that. Just, I want that to be nice and bright. I'm going over the white as well so that that's just a lighter color. I do want to go to the outer edge of that flower. And then this guy, I'm not going to go, actually I am this time. I'm going to do it a little different than I did on the Patreon video. I'm going to throw some yellow in now so I can get a little bit of more of a highlight in here. And then I'll go into the orange next to it. I'll wipe the purple off the orange so that comes out bright. And this orange is vermilion. Again, this is going to look like something a child did. Actually, that's kind of typical of oil pastels in general, but that's normal for this stage. And then we're going to get that violet. We're going to get some of that in these. And then we get to sit and stare at each other awkwardly for a few minutes while we wait for the OMS to dry on that section. And I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is a synthetic hog-haired filbert, so it's a little bit more stiff than your traditional tack-on bristle. And I'm going to start with these guys because they are lighter. Let's see, what am I having issues with? Somebody said something about the camera. Oh, the lagging. That I can't help you with. It looks normal from this. Yeah, that's okay. That lagging, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't know, especially this camera. And it doesn't matter if I switch it for another camera, like this location. I don't know. I definitely don't know why it does it. I apologize. See, those of you on Patreon you've got the version without lag. Well, it's the bigger project, but. It's the unfortunate thing with live streaming. See, I just want to get all of the white of the paper filled in at this point. That is my goal. Now with oil pastels, it's going to be similar to watercolor in that, or colored pencils, in that it's generally going to be easier if you go much, much lighter than what you want that end result to be and layer your darks over it. Some of the pencils are going to be opaque enough that they're still going to show up pretty well over other colors, but not all of them, especially not the yellows. Again, I'm going to start here, and I've got a decent amount of OMS on my brush for the first layers. You don't want enough that it's running, but there's still a pretty good amount. I want to keep that edge a little bit clean there. Again, if you are in the US, I shouldn't mention it now because I'm just doing it out of habit to fill it into space because it doesn't look good yet. But if you are in the US, you can bid on this. Link is in the video description, you know, if you're watching live. Okay. We need that to sit for a minute because if I work over it with the OMS or with the pencil, or the words are hard, the oil pastels, it doesn't it's too slippery while the OMS is really wet. So I'm just going to give it a minute here. like color comes off, but not in the way that I want it to. So the paper's almost too slick. So we're gonna let that dry a little bit. And it's not like with colored pencil where we're worried about preserving the integrity of the paper. We don't want to damage the tooth of the paper. That's not the problem here. It's just like, especially because the pastels or the oil pastels are so soft, it's that it's just too slippery. Nothing really sticks. So we need the OMS to dry a little bit. And I don't want to use a hair dryer because I don't want to start a fire. Although, to be fair, my hair dryer does not get hot enough that it likely would start a fire, but you know, it's flammable. Let's not make a, well, I don't know. I could get me views though, huh? Maybe I should test that, but we're gonna just let that set for just a moment. How many of you guys have used oil pastels, and did you like them or did you feel lost? Like, what did you think about it while you worked with them? And how many times did you use them? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of. So, and here's another thing about oil pastels. They never really dry all the way. So I'm not waiting for oil pastels to dry. I'm waiting for OMS to dry. So it's a little bit different there. And it's not going to dry 100%. I can't wait that long for a live stream, obviously. But the oil pastels themselves, they always stay a little kind of wet. You can always smudge them. But one of the things, and this was really exciting for me because nothing I'd ever used before even came close to working so well. Senlier has their oil pastel, their own fixative. This stuff is priceless. Actually, it's not priceless. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth it. You put a few layers on this, and it's better if you do multiple light layers, and you'll get to where you can actually run your hand across it, and it barely smudges at all. Like, it makes a huge, huge difference in how this is. You still would frame it behind glass, but my gosh, this stuff makes me like oil pastels a lot more, because that's always been my complaint with them. They have a very unique look that you're really not getting with other mediums. Maybe oil paint wet into wet. Like, hold on, I need to tighten up my chair here. But it's not, I always hated that they always stayed wet. That makes a difference, like a big, big difference. I love it. So let's see. Oh, good timing there. Pauline said, puppy break. Oh, someone's head popped up. Did you hear that, Wade? Does the bad cow want a super chat? Yeah? You too, Gibson? Thank you so much, Pauline. Okay, back up, boys. Oh, big snort. He's excited. There, so they can see cute faces. Good boys. Those are good boys. Thank you so much. Okay, go lay down. Lay down. Down, 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 down. Lay down. Gibson's trying to bed swap here. Lay down. Cow. He's like, but brother took my bed. What are you yelling at me for? Good boys. What? You're still standing. Cow, down. Oh, I messed up the curtain here. Hold on. Lay down. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. It's not all the way dry. I would like it to be a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and we're just going to leave it or go with it. So now I'm going to start layering in some more. I want my apricot color. So what color is it? I've been calling it apricot for all of the Patreon video, but I don't even know where it is. I'm not certain what the actual name is. Here it is. Bright yellow something. Well, it doesn't look very yellow to me. It looks like apricot. And I'm just cleaning it because it's got so much pigment on the stick. Oh, that stick is broken. Okay, so I'm going to, again, go into the background. We're just going to start throwing that in there. Now, see how blue? I've got stripes of blue coming in. That is because I did not clean that well enough. We'll just go over that. Just medium pressure again. Pull a little bit of that in there, or violet. We're going to go down into darker oranges in here. See, now things are getting nice and slippery. This is more what I'm looking for with oil pastels. Also, my colors are a bit more bold than what that looks like. So I'll have to show on the other camera as we go. And I'm going to put white on top of that after I blend this a bit. So I need to make sure I get that blue out of there. So we'll clean that brush first. And I do not need nearly as much OMS this time. I've already got a good amount of pigment on the paper. I'm saying pigment, I don't know, product. I don't know what you would even call oil pastels. I love how vibrant these are. And let's grab some white. That white definitely probably has blue on it. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, a little bit. It was mostly purple. So I don't have as thick of OMS on it now, so that sticks a bit better than it would have that first time through. And I'm going to let my brush stroke show. I want this to be a little bit blotchy in there. And let's start getting another layer of our blues. I'm going to pull some purples. So this one is Violet Alizarin something something. You're welcome. I definitely want that up against the orange there because that's going to be super pretty. Purple up against orange is always pretty. Let's see. Let's get, where was my darker blue? I've got so many colors out in front of me. I've made a hot mess. There you are, hiding under a paper towel. Sneaky, sneaky product. Well, I shouldn't complain. If it was a Prismacolor, it would have just broken out of spite. This one just hid. We'll take hiding over breaking. Let's pull a little bit of this violet-y color, or cobalt violet light. There we go. Which is not as opaque as you'd think it would be, being as light as it is. And then we've got the other blue, which has too much red in it. Let's clean that up. I'm just wiping it on a paper towel. And I'm going to pull more of this right in between the two so it fades nicer. And I want more yellow in here too. Okay, so as I blend this, I'm going to start with the yellow first, just because I don't want to get blue in there. And then I'm going to wipe it off again. I don't want to just go straight from that yellow on that brush that I'm blending with into the blue, or I will get green. I don't want very much green in this piece. Now I'm going to jump ahead, and we're going to work in this area. Trying not to get too much of the blue. Like a little bit can get on the flowers, but try to minimize that as much as you can. See, now this starts getting that nice rich color. I want to let my brush stroke show. Again, you don't need that much OMS at this stage because we already got that base layer filled in. I'm just going a little bit softer with less OMS here to soften these out. And I'm going to let that background set. I do want to do a little bit more on it later, but we're going to leave that alone for right now. That's a nice place to move on. Okay, we're going to start with this flower. It is still wet. I don't know why I stuck my finger in that. And we're going to start with pulling my highlights here. Again, go lighter than you think you need to go. Is it the Sennelier Pastel Fixative Sennelier? This is the one. Okay. We've got a little bit of a light area here. And now we're going to move into the oranges. I'm going to do that light orange, or what did they say? This was light yellow. It's apricot. We're going with apricot. We're going to get a little bit up here. Now with oil pastels, it is kind of hard to control. These are big, blocky. While we can get some detail with the paintbrush that you'll see a little bit later, the way that I do that, it's easier to work a little bit larger. Like I would not want to do these flowers super tiny. It would be very, very difficult to get it to do much of anything. So this is a 5x7. Well, really the paper's a little bit bigger, but once it's framed, it'll be a 5x7. I want to be careful with the oranges. I don't want to pull this out too much because it's going to be a lot harder to lighten it up. Now we can, if you go too light or too dark, you can take a bit, because we left that background so light, I could actually take a Q-tip or something and scrape off the upper layers, exposing the light area. So we do, being that we went that dark for the bottom, we can fix it easily if we do go too dark. But it's going to save us time if we just don't go too dark from the beginning. We're going to go a little bit darker on a few of these. That is not the red I want. Is it? Maybe it is. No, it is. It looks a little bit darker than that. Yeah, that's the right one. Pull a little bit darker down here. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to that smaller brush. And we're going to start with the lighter areas first. If I have streaks, I want to make sure they're going the direction that that petal is. See how I'm going from the outside in? So don't just make random lines going all over the place. Let those streaks work with that, like the direction that petal should be. I've got to be careful. That's already going really dark. So I'm going to wipe that and kind of push it back. That's much better. And this will look very different when we can get the center in, but it can't really do the center until the OMS starts to dry. As you're working, when you blend with the brush, that starts picking up a lot of the color, like you saw it just, I blended the red, the dark. It picks up so much of what I was blending that I could then use it to paint on details like that. Okay, I'm going to let that set for now. We're not done with that. We're going to come back to it. This is actually going pretty fast. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get this done in one lesson. I wasn't sure. I don't do oil pastels often, not often enough to know how fast I can do it. So I was not sure if this was one of my better ideas or not. Looks like we'll be good though. Okay, now this guy's going to have some bold red. So we're going to pull that in there. It'll be much, much darker than that one. And most of this side gets chopped off. So we're just kind of letting that fade out. And I want to pull a little bit of that violet up in here. We're going to blend that. I'm going to end up pulling purple too, but I think I'll wait. See if we can use that red that just loaded on the brush and use that to paint my edge. And that's all gonna not be on screen. Oops, hold on 1 second. Make sure, I did not realize, oh, my easel cam is skipping a little. Not a big deal. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the one, I don't know why it does that. And it's not even recording tonight, so it's definitely not that as being the problem. I don't know. And I've done research on, I don't even know who to ask on how to solve the problem. Like, I would like more webcams and be able to switch from one to another. I just can't. Like, I can't find anyone who has the answers to why I have these problems. Okay, and now let's get these little flowers. And where's the purple? Did I put that back? Yeah. So this is actually purple. Wait, what is it called? Cobalt violet light. No, it's not. It's purple. Looks like purple dioxazine to me. I should get to be the one to make up names for flowers. I'd set up a change.org if those things worked. Or not the name for flowers, the name for colors. Whatever, I don't know what I just said. Okay, we are going to leave that alone. Are you starting to dry? Yeah, the OMS is kind of, it's sticky, but that's because the pastels. So let's, I actually want to start getting some of the lighter color in my background here. So let's start getting that in there. I'm gonna wipe the blue off this. You can see how there's blue at the tip there, or the edge. That, I'm just wiping that on my paper towel to clean that off so I don't smudge blue into it. I really do not need much OMS at this stage. There is so much like of the pastel on, or oil pastel on there. It is really getting thick. This is where it starts to start, like, God, I really can't talk, seriously. 1 cup of coffee, I must limit myself, and take a nap. But this is where you get that really pretty oil pastel look, where it's just, how do you explain it? It's on there thick. It just has a unique look, and I'm cleaning this up. I want to get some more oranges. There we go. That looks pretty. Next, we're going to start pulling a few more blues and letting that really show. Letting some of these be a bit more blotchy. Not squiggles. That's squiggle. I want blotch. Not the same thing. We've got some of that violet, which is, what is it? Cobalt violet light. It is not sticking. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where it starts to get to it. This is much more purple on my screen than yours. I'll show you at the edge. But this is where the, I was talking about, where it hits a point where it starts getting slippery and colors do not stick well. Some colors stick well. This one, look how well that shows up. But this one, not a lot. Like it's not just that it's darker, it's almost more translucent. So it doesn't stick as well when you get this many layers in there. And that's just kind of the nature when working with oil pastels, and you'll get used to which colors you know you can layer thicker and which ones are just not going to show up. Now, if you get to a point where let's say you realized, oh, I wish this flower was lighter, wipe that off, any area. I could wipe it off and then color over it. Now, the color over it's probably going to be semi-translucent, so it's not the same as working on white paper, but at least it'll stick again. Whereas like right now, it won't really stick because it's hit that point of being super slippery, and some of these colors are just way more translucent than others. Like that light blue will show up well. We'll use that to outline around some of the flowers, which looks, I love that look. but it shows up well enough I can get away with using it for that. Whereas that purple I just used, it wouldn't show up enough to make that happen. There's just so much of the oil pastel on the paper. I like the look better with oil pastels, which kind of sucks because they're fairly expensive, but in order to be layering, like it takes a lot of pastel. I burn through them. Like this is 3 projects. That's how much of the white I use to give you an idea of how much I have left out of a full-size stick. So white's what I go through the fastest by far, but they're kind of more expensive than like an acrylic painting this size. Hardly costs me anything to do. Oil pastels look better when you build it up really thick, and the pastels aren't super cheap. So it's just something to keep in mind with this medium. I sound like I'm trying to talk everyone out of it. I'm not. It's just, if you're trying to save money, I guess this is where I'm going with this, because I've seen students do this. They know it because they bought them. They know they cost more, and you'll try to save money, and you're just using a small amount. Same thing with painting, tiny amount of paint. It's going to look like crap. You have to kind of get over the idea of, oh, this is expensive and I'm using a lot of it. Work a little bit smaller, like do a study. So you know how I talked about you want to work bigger because you can't get a lot of detail. Well, you can work smaller, just do a study where instead of doing like my bigger piece where I've got multiple flower, like lots and lots of flowers, I only did 3 little patches of flowers and worked on a smaller piece. Then you feel, I think, like you're not going through as much of the product, but you're also able to layer as much as you need to make it look good. Because if you were trying to go to skimp out on this, it's not going to look, everyone's going to be able to tell. Okay, so let's leave that background. Oh, I really like how that background came out. So let's come over here and start getting some details. There was a lighter. Was it you? No, it was not you. Hold on. Oof. You know you're getting old when you have to make a noise every time you move or stand up. Like it's not even possible to not make noises when standing. Let's see. Do I have it hiding here? I had a really pretty, like bright violet color, and I don't know where it is right now. It could be anywhere. Oh well, I guess I don't need that one then today. Maybe it'll pop up. Maybe not. Okay, let's go ahead and start getting some of these darker colors. So we're going to be using the violet as whatever that I can't say. And make some of those little lines in there for the center. And same thing over here. And then this one, I think this was the, yeah, cobalt violet light. Or we're just going to define these a little bit more with that one. Let's pull some more in here. And now I'm going to show you, this is one of my favorite ways to get detail. So you see I've got a big piece of tape that is skipping, but I've got a big piece of tape off to the side here. And the reason that I put that extra tape is so that I could scribble. Let's do one with, let's see, where's the color that's going to be a little bit lighter so you can see it better. We'll do it with that too. So I just scribble a little bit to the side. Now I'm going to take my brush, clean the OMS off of it, or the color that was previously there. I've got some OMS, and I'm going to load whatever color I want. So just mix that in. That was the darker purple. And now I can paint nice details. And this, like a lot, like you can use technically sort of colored pencil, sort of, to get details. But most of the time, if you put it on as thick as I like to work, it ends up scraping the pastels off instead of leaving pigment for the pencil. I find it's better, and you can do this with a liner brush as well. I find it's better to paint it on. Much more so than, so I don't even bother with colored pencils. I messed with them for a bit thinking that it would work better with these because these are your more expensive pastels. It really didn't. If anything, it might be worse because they layer thicker. Just reloading that again. You can't really see that, but that's just my violet color, and see how you can get however many details you really want. Now, I'm not trying to make something super, super realistic. I think oil pastels, I love the looser style with them, much messier, but I can still get a bit more detail than I would just with the pastel stick itself. Okay, I need to get some darker colors in here too, so I'm going to take the dark color I used for the background, pull some of that in there. And I need some darker purple too. How do I want to get that one in there? I guess I can do the same thing. Where did that pastel go? So I'm going to scribble a little bit because I would lift it a lot. And I want to get some more of these darks. Oh, it's not sticking that well. It's too wet. It's just blending now. I need to let that dry a bit. So while that dries, I'll let that set for a bit. I still need to come through with some highlights and such. But I'm going to go ahead and get some of my little grassy stems. So the first color I'm going to use, this one is something Davis. Wait, sap green light. And this is not going to show up super well. Actually, it showed up a lot better than I expected it to. And I'm going to use, this color shows up. So talking about the colors that are more opaque and stand out against other ones, this is one of them. This is green, yellow, light. And it really is making a liar out of me. There we go. It's still a little too wet. If it was more dry, that stands out much more. Pull it up a little bit higher because that mat is going to cut a lot of this off. And let's get a little bit, let's see, I'm going to pull some oranges into that. This is going to muddy it up a little bit, give us a softer tone. Now, here's one of the things. Let me actually, oh, no, I do have some. Nope, you are dirty. I forgot to grab Q-tips. Hold on. Let me grab some Q-tips really quick. I'll show you what I was talking about lifting color. Okay. So I want to put some little smudges in there. If I just put the apricot color over it, it's not going to show up at all. And even here, the apricot's not going to be like super bright, but because I removed some of it, it's going to show up some. If I tried to do that without lifting, it's just going to be mud. Like because it's going to mix in too much with the blue. So I'm using that to erase basically. Let's see, we can get some orange in there. See how as I move here, it doesn't really show up that much, not as much as up here. I want to get some of the lavendery color. That was one of the spots I think I removed. Kind of gives us a splattery look. Or the ends of flowers. Depends on how you want to look at that. Kind of does look like the ends of flowers. Let's go with that. I'm going to throw some highlights on a few of these. You can also come now, and I'm pushing harder. This is really thick. And get some much more defined highlights in here. And when I blend that, it'll be more of a pinkish, whoops, that has lots of violet on it. Let's wipe that off. That's why you want to clean your brush first. There we go. I'm not going to blend those. I am going to pull more green. I decided I think these would look cuter as the tips of flowers than splatters. So, yep, I like that a lot. Let's get a little bit more of that light green in there. Yeah, I really like the balance of that. Okay, And the next thing I want to do is take the blue, and this is just going to go right around some of these edges. And I'm not trying to stay perfectly on the line. Being outside of the line looks cool with this style. Okay, we've got that one in there. We are just about done with this. Wow. I thought this was going to take me so much longer. Please leave me all the questions you can even think of. Like, think up some good ones for me that gives me something to talk about, because we are really going to be done early tonight. I think part of it too, because I just did these exact flowers, I like knew the exact order I wanted to do this in, but that's kind of funny because we are just about done. I do want to take this, let's put a little bit of a highlight just by erasing some of the red, and we can pull highlights out just a bit. And I might do it. I want to do one more lesson with for Patreon with the oil pastels, and I normally don't do the same medium 2 weeks in a row, but I think I might, because I want to show you the other technique where it's almost like scratch board, kind of, but not really, like a little bit. So it's a little bit of a different technique. I want to do that, so I may do that this coming week so that I've got them all at once. But yeah, that is, let me show you what this looks like in this camera. So if you want to bid on it, again, the link is in the video description, or go to lachri.com. Oh, these pastels are going to fall when I move this board. So there are your colors. That is much more accurate. And then when it gets matted, let's see, when you mat this, where is my mat? I'm just going to hold it in front because the oil pastels are going to get all over it. But this is what it's going to look like matted. There we okay, fine, I'll push on it, whatever. Oh, that actually came out really pretty. I am actually, when I'm looking at this needs a little bit of orange in those flowers. They are standing out a little bit more than I want. Like, they don't feel like they go with the rest of them. We just need a little orange, not a lot. A little bit of peach. And that's just going to help them be a part of the other flowers more. Like, not a part of them, but like a part of the same scene. There we go. And where did the white go? I'm going to pull a few little white in there too to balance that out. A few more highlights. Much better. Okay, and then when I sign that, I'm going to let it scratch right into this. The pencil sort of shows up, but I'm also scraping away some of the red, so that's where my signature is going to be. And there is the finished, actually that is pretty accurate color-wise, close. This is a little bit more peach orange, like more vibrant in person. This is very accurate. This is more red. That is always the problem. These cameras do not show the red. So the red in that flower looks like the one you're seeing on the screen. I didn't even notice how like not red that looks. It is not, I don't think it showed up as red over here either. I had the same problem when I did that red on the other similar flowers. Yeah, it is like stop sign red. This is, I don't know why my cameras do not like red. They don't show red at all. This color, very accurate. That's pretty accurate. That flower looks like the one on the screen. It looks like my sample where it's red, which makes it so striking and so pretty, and it is not showing for you guys. That is weird. Like, that is, seriously, stop sign red, and it doesn't even come close. Like, this is my red. Does it look red? No, look, see, that looks brown, and it's red. My camera hates red. So, but unfortunately, you're not going to see that on this one. So I'll have to take a photo and post it on Instagram like tomorrow or something so you can see, because that is pretty. So whoever gets that one, this one I'm really happy with how that came out. So again, link is in the video description if you want to bid, or go to lachri.com if you're in the US. You can bid on that. And let's go ahead and look at questions. Where are we? Nope, not that one. Okay. What is today's date? Okay, that is, I'm in the wrong thing. That's why I'm like, that doesn't look like what I'm looking for. Okay. Here we go. Dina said, is it okay to use the non-light fast colored pencils if you spray fixative and frame it behind light fast glass? You know, in my opinion, no, but also you're probably fine. I don't sell anything that I'm using not light fast. Like if it's not light fast colors in my colored pencils, I am not selling it. I'm just not comfortable doing it. And there's so many light fast, like whatever color you're using, unless it's one of your more fluorescent colors, and those are going to fade, I swear, no matter what you do. I think those always fade. But like hot pink and stuff, that's always a little bit of a frustrating thing for me with colored pencil. Like if I'm doing a floral and I want this bright, vivid pink, there just isn't one in colored pencil that's light fast, not as bright and vivid as I want. I would rather use a color that is more muted, but I also know is going to fade, is not going to fade, is what I go with. But if you are using colors that are not light fast, UV protecting glass and a fixative is going to help you a lot. Like it does matter. It does make a big difference. Does it make up completely for using non-light fast colors? I don't think so. I wouldn't personally risk it, but you're probably okay. Like, I don't know. I don't want to tell you it'll be fine for sure, but you're probably okay. I would make sure the buyer knew this. Like if you have to replace this glass, if you drop it, if you break it, it needs to be UV protecting glass. The UV protecting glass is going to do a better job than the fixatives do. I have not seen fixatives, like, I don't trust those as much because did you get it on evenly as heavy over here as you did over here? Like glass is just even, I trust glass, UV protecting glass more, but yeah, that's kind of a weird one. Are you okay? Probably. Would I do it? Personally, no, but a lot of people do. I don't know that that even helps. Oops, I messed up my screen. Here we go. Let's see. Pauline said, I just bought these oil pastels before vacation. I have not opened them yet. If I want to sharpen the ends, can I save the shavings and use like watercolor? Not really, no. This is a new medium to me. No, and even like I showed you on the Patreon one, like you can kind of take your OMS, load it on this brush and kind of lift it a little bit like watercolor. It does not work as well. And I showed this on the Patreon one, not nearly as well as what I did over here where I scribbled and then I can lift the color and paint that way. That's going to work much, much better. There are no shavings. If you tried to, you can't get shavings out of these. There are none. It's thick, it's waxy. Like try to get shavings out of butter. That's kind of what, like, this is cold butter. Think of it like that. You're not getting shavings out of it. Somebody's going to say that they managed to do it with some weird device. Whatever. I don't cook, so I don't know what butter does. But like, if you think of taking a cheese grater with butter, that is basically what would happen with these. There are no shavings. So no, you're not going to sharpen these. And even if you were to, like, you'd be better off to sharpen them by trying to squish the points together. And even if you do that, as soon as you touch it to the paper, it's going to flatten back out. Like, they do not hold a shape at all. You'll see as soon as you use them, you'll know what I mean. They're really, really soft. Now, there are cheap, like there are some oil pastels that I think are a bit harder. They're usually the cheaper ones. It doesn't lay down as nice. I don't love those, but with the Sennelier, no, there's not really a good way to sharpen that. Let's see. Brittany said, do oil pastels ever go bad, meaning they get to the point where you can never use them at all? Not that I've seen, because they never dry. So they can't dry out because they, even on the paper, they don't dry. So I've never seen them go bad. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I've never seen it happen. Maybe different brands, depending on what ingredients they use. I don't know for sure, but it shouldn't, theoretically. Baby Panda said, can you use the hairdryer on cool to help dry the OMS? I mean, it's just not going to make that big of a difference. Like, wind blowing on it is not going to make a big difference. The heat would, but it's flammable, so it wouldn't make enough of a difference that I would bother picking up my hairdryer that is right next to me. And like, it's right here, and I still, like, it really is not going to make that big of a difference. Heat would dry it faster, but again, we're talking about something that's flammable. That said, I have used heat on OMS, and because this is a higher flash point, the Mona Lisa odorless is, oh, I don't remember what it is. I want to say it was 120, 130, 140, something like that, and then the Gamsol was like 160 or 150. I don't remember. I don't remember. I am pulling numbers out of my rear because I do not remember right now, but like 120 degrees, I don't even think my hairdryer can get something. Like, I would have to hold it on the same spot, like almost touching for a really long time for my hairdryer to get that hot. That said, I wouldn't recommend someone else do it because I don't want you, like, to take a risk. I'll be dumb and do stupid stuff and tell you about it if anything goes wrong, but I don't know if it's worth, yeah, I'm not going to recommend it. Let's go with that. But as far as putting cold air on it, I just don't see it making any difference. Let's see. Kathy said, what are the little pieces of wood that come with the canvases? I'm assuming they are to help stretch the canvas, but I do use it before. Do I use it before or after completing the painting? I typically throw them away. What they're for is the back, like, it'll fit in the back. Let me see if I've got one. Yeah, I don't want to get oils on it though. So there's little, and I don't even know where any would be, but there's little canvases come with these little wooden pieces. They fit into these slots. There will be little, I don't know if you can see that slot. You can shove them in there and it will tighten. It'll just kind of separate. It pulls the wood stretcher bars apart just a little bit. And the goal there is to stretch out the canvas a little bit more if it got somewhat loose. I use Frederick's canvases. They never get loose on me. I don't need to use them. Occasionally I'll shove them in there because I'm like, oh, I have it, may as well, but it doesn't normally need it. But if you have a canvas that gets loose, that's what those are for. Do you do it before or after? It really doesn't matter. Let's see. That was a good question. I don't think anyone's asked that before. I love when it's a new question. Theros said, probably a silly question. Can you use oil pastel with oil paints? I don't know. It would be weird because oil, I'm just going to go with I don't know, but I can't think of a single case where I would want to do that. Like, I can't see any benefit. Oil paints actually dry. These don't. So I don't think putting oil paint on top, I don't know what that would do because the oils on top would dry where what was under didn't. I don't know what would happen. So yeah, I don't have a clue on that one, but yeah, I don't know. But like, if you wanted to paint, let's say you did this and you're like, well, I'll use the oil paint to get fine detail. Do what I did here where we've got this where we can just take that OMS, lift it, and then you can paint your details that way. And you don't have to use a brush this big. You can use a brush that is like a liner brush. I have one over here that I use specifically for details. When I did the puffin, if you're on Patreon, you saw the puffin tutorial. That one's much more realistic. And with that one, I did use the liner brush. So you can use thin brushes. You don't need to use oil. And I know for sure that it would be compatible doing it this way. So this would be my preferred method because I know it works and I know it's safe. Baby Panda said, when you use the Q-tips to remove color, do you use them dry or with OMS? I use them dry. You could use OMS, but it's going to more blend than remove. I'm trying to remove, so removing it, the dry works better. Let's see. Audrey said, before you ship your art that's auctioned, do you spray fixative or varnish on them? So it depends on what it is. With this one, I'm going to put several layers of this fixative. So I'll do several light layers to get it to be as smudge proof as possible. I mean, it's oil pastel, so it will always smudge to an extent. But I will do this and then I will mat it and then I will put a piece of glassine on top of the art and then slide it into the bag. They come in I actually shipped everything this week, but they come in a bag inside the mat. And so that will keep it, if anything pushes on it, it's not gonna stick to the glassine. So that's gonna protect it as well as I possibly can. With Colored pencil, I don't use any fixative. It doesn't need it. But if it's colored pencil over pan pastel, so that would be typical of an auction, I spray Spectrafix over that. And then I mat it and put it in the bag. That I don't have to put glassine in between the bag because it doesn't really smudge that much, not like this will. So, because that's actually dry, even though it is still smudgeable. It's smudgeable, is that a word? It is still dry. But let's see, acrylics, I do varnish. I put 2 to 3 coats of clear gloss varnish on acrylics. It makes it look so pretty. It makes the color so vibrant. So I do 2 or 3 coats of a high gloss varnish with Liquitex on those. What else? Charcoal, I would use a Spectrafix finish. Watercolor and colored pencil doesn't need any sort of fixative, so that is fine as it is. So it just depends on what the medium is. Let's see. Oh, my phytoplankton is coming soon for my reef tank. And where was I? Sorry, I got distracted. What happens when you have 2 cups of coffee. Your brain bounces all over the place. Let's see. 2 cups of coffee back to back, I should say, which is not normal for me. Lightly said, are you going to do an August sketch? Oh my gosh, I'm late. I will do that tomorrow. If I haven't, can you bug me about it? Also, Lily, I need to send you George. George needs to be matted and sent to you, and I'm sorry, I suck. So I need to get that to you. Lily won a giveaway like months ago, and George is sitting in that cabinet and waiting for me to put him in a mat and ship him. Let's see. So remind me to do the sketchbook challenge and to send you George. Send me a private message if you want for your address. I think I have it already on Patreon though, so I'm probably okay, but just in case, send that again. Oh, I got paid this week too. I definitely need to just take advantage of that and get everything shipped. Oh, speaking of shipping things, for those of you on Patreon who are waiting for your postcards for May and June, that should have gone out in June and July. So I'm behind, but not as behind as it sounds. Those, I got them labeled. I just need to get stamps. I have some stamps. I need to see how many more I need to order, and those will be coming to you soon. So that is on that is soon too. Fly Me to the Moon said, I probably should know this. I know it's going to an 8. What? I probably should know this. I know it's going to an 8. I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry, Fly to the Moon. Noctis Gamma said, I have trouble loosening up and become too precious with my work. Do you have, I think that's supposed to be precise. I think it auto-corrected on you. Do you have any advice for this? I feel like it hinders my improvement because I repeat this issue. Okay, so I don't know what mediums you normally work in, but I think the easiest medium to learn to loosen up with is acrylics. And what I have students do is sit. So let's say your canvas is over here. You're going to sit at a distance. You're going to use kind of a bigger brush, and you're going to paint like this with your arm out here. You can try to put as much detail as you want with this brush at this distance with your arm extended. And that is how you're going to learn to loosen up. It forces you to loosen up because you're using a larger than usual brush. No liner brush is allowed. Only whatever detail you can get with, I would say the smallest, maybe a number, what is this, a number 6. So maybe you see, can you see, this is a filbert. So no round brushes, we're gonna take those out. This is a number 6 filbert, I would go a little bit larger than this. This is a good size for the majority of your work. So you can see like that, or bigger. Use bigger brushes, and again, at a distance and paint like this. You will get to where you don't need to be at with your arm that extended, but it will force you, and I think acrylic paints are the easiest to learn to do this. Now, as much as you guys know, I like professional quality paint. I like my professional everything. When you're learning to loosen up, get some cardboard and some cheap, like apple barrel, whatever cheapest cheap you can find at the Dollar Tree. I don't care. I don't know. Do they have paint? I don't know. I know they have roaches, so I don't go there. But my husband used to work for Terminex. I don't go into dollar stores. I am paranoid. But anyway, or many restaurants down, is it the 75? What freeway is over there? Like it goes through Plano, it goes through, well, let's just say that row has a lot of roaches. Moving on. No one cares, Lisa. So point is, the cheapest cheap you can get just to practice loosening up, because what you're doing is not going to be pretty to start with. But I don't think it requires good paint to get the hang of loosening up. So cheap brushes, some cardboard Amazon boxes, I don't care, and just practice. Like you can draw, you can take the time and draw out whatever you want like you normally would. You could draw all the detail in the world. When you start painting and you're painting like this back here, you are going to be, like, it forces you to loosen up. And as you get more the hang of it, you can go ahead and get closer and closer. When you start loosening up, I recommend flowers. Because if you're trying to do loose on a portrait, you're probably going to be very angry at, you know, the lack of control. Flowers still look like flowers when they're loosely painted. And so I think that's a really good way to start in getting your style, or like landscapes, getting that looser style. So that is my recommendation for anybody wanting to loosen up. Just cheap paint. You don't even have to know how to paint with acrylics, even if that's not your medium. Cheap. Go cheap. I don't want you wasting your good stuff while you kind of get the hang of controlling the brush back here. So yes, that is my recommendation for loosening things up. Also, we have for the boys, do you boys want a super chat from Art by MB? Thank you so much. Does that sound good to you too? Okay, there you go. See, thank you. Very tasty. We're running low on those. I need to order some more. Okay, go lay down. Lay down. 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 Thank you again. Gibson. Down. Cow. What is happening? No one's listening. Slowest race dogs ever. Okay. Lavina said, I followed along, but I don't have OMS, so I used blending stumps. I got an arm workout. Yes, you would. I noticed afterwards there's a rough and smooth side. Is one side better than the other depending on how you are using them? Rough and smooth side on the blending stump or the paper? Paper, well, it really doesn't matter if you're using this paper. I think you mean the blending stump, and try both and see which gives you the results you want. You can also use your fingers. When I used to use oil pastels before I discovered the amazingness of OMS, I blended with my fingers, just kind of smudged that way. Maybe safer to put like a little glove on or something like that. Or you could take paper towel and try wrapping that around your finger, see the results. Try with some of the different methods and see what you like. It's going to vary from person to person. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You don't have to use OMS. I certainly like the results. I get better with it than without it. But I, for many years, only used blending stumps, my fingers, or paper towels wrapped around my fingers. So you've got a lot of, or like a latex glove, like you can kind of cut the finger out and have that around your finger. You could try that. Those are certainly valid methods to use oil pastels. But as far as which side, the smooth or the rough side, try them both, see which side you like if it's the blending stump you're talking about. But for the paper, it depends on the type of paper you're using. For the pan pastel, or not pan pastel, I keep saying pan pastels. I think I did that a million times in the Patreon video too. For the oil pastel paper, the pad I'm using, both sides are nearly the same. I'm using the front of, this is the pad that I use. It doesn't make a big difference. If you were using like Hansen Me10s or something like that, I would personally go with the smooth side, but I think it was the blending stump probably you meant. But yeah, anyway, this was the paper I wanted to show you guys. This stuff is amazing. And they actually have a piece of glassine, I think it's glassine, in between each sheet. Let me tell you, I'm saving this because I will definitely be using those. But it's really thick, almost like a cardstock. Super thick paper. What is this? 160 pounds. So very, very thick. So you can really, like, using the blending stuff, you can push super hard and you're not going to hurt the paper. And I know that was not your question, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Oops, I just lost Discord. Come back. Stop being weird. And speaking of Patreon, for those of, if you are unaware of Patreon, for as little as $6 a month, it is not 2019, so it is, I don't remember what year it is, it's $6 a month now. You get access to all of my longer tutorials. There are over 400 available instantly and a new one almost every week, sometimes every other week, depending on how long that video is going to be. But new, from oil painting, acrylic painting, colored pencil, or graphite, charcoal, oil pastels. Now we've been doing those. We've got watercolor and colored pencil, pan pastels and colored pencil. What other mediums? Inktense. There's probably more. There's some digital art lessons for if you've got like an Apple tablet or a Samsung tablet like I do. I've got some tutorials showing you how you can do art, start doing art on those. So very cool. Lots and lots of mediums, over 400 instantly, $6 a month. Like, Those are long lessons too. Most of those are anywhere between 1 to 3 hours long. So I've been doing longer lessons lately. They used to only be an hour long. Now they're like 2 hours long and mostly real time. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you to follow along with me. Patreon.com/Lachri. Seriously, $6. That is a really good, and these aren't lessons that I was like, okay, I'm going to do 4 lessons today so that I have 400 available. And I've been doing them since 2014. So these are lessons, I mean, my older ones aren't as good as the newer ones. Obviously, I've gotten better with getting the recordings done and using better equipment. But like, that is a huge value because I've been making these lessons over there for so long. That's why there are so many, not because they're terrible, but because I've been doing it a really long time. I've been teaching a long time too, so I know where you're likely to have problems, and I can try to explain that to you as I'm teaching and solve those problems as we go, and explain, like, if you have this happen, try adding more water. If you have, that sort of detail. So definitely check that out, please, because that's how I pay my bills, so that I can do these live streams for free. Patreon.com/Lachri. Okay, no more coffee for you. Joseph said, I love that I've never needed them on Frederick's canvas and that they always come with the little wedges just in case. Exactly, like Frederick's canvases, I don't think I have ever used them, like besides just shoving them in, because I was like, I don't want to, I'm too lazy to walk to the trash can, let's just shove them in the canvas. Then I still have to put the little baggie in the trash, so that was not helpful. But anyway, yeah, Frederick's canvases are amazing. Let's see. Okay, nope, that still didn't work. Fly me to the moon. I think she split the question, not you. You should probably know this. It's going. Okay, here we go. That's what it was for Fly Me to the Moon. I probably should know this. I know it's going to an 9:54 p.m. 10 matte, so the interior picture is a 6x8. There we go, we got it. Okay, so the interior picture is a 5x7. The outer, this is how this works. So this is where the inside of the art, I just gave myself a paper cut. The inside of the art, this 5x7. The outside of the matte, 8x10. So this pops into an 8x10 frame. So like Walmart, I don't know, if you go get roach material from Dollar Tree down the street from me, that would be 8x10 frame would be like any standard 8x10 frame. You leave the glass in, obviously, and this just pops in, put the back on, and you are all set. Took me enough times reading that to understand. Sorry about that. Lydia says, hey Lisa, are you planning on doing surreal acrylic or oil painting for Patreon members anytime soon? Yes, very soon. It's actually one of the things I've been working on ideas for, because that is one of my next big projects. And I want to do something really big. So it's going to be a multi-part project. But yes, I have not done a good, like, surreal. I know I want to do a scene inside of a scene. I'm working on some idea. Yes is the answer to that. Let's see. I'm really enjoying the frog, bottle, and canary lesson at the moment. Yay! I'm glad you like it. That one is hanging on my wall in my studio. It's missing French fry, though, because he was not here at the time I painted that. Rebecca said, what is the sketchbook challenge and how do we join? Cool. So for those of you on Patreon, you can join our Discord. You actually don't have to be in Discord, but it's fun because you can share your sketchbooks each day. So I do a sketchbook prompt, and normally I have it out on the 1st, and this month I am behind on all the things. So I will get that up for you tomorrow. But the sketchbook prompt has a new prompt for every day of the month. So if you just struggle, you want to paint or draw, or like just something quick, and you just can't think of something, go through there. It may be a frog holding an umbrella, and you just sketch it. You can spend 5 minutes, you can spend an hour, you can spend whatever you want. It's just something to get you going. And every month it's something, or every day of the week, it's every day of the month. My God, seriously, 1 cup of coffee, girl. 1 cup next time. We will have 1 cup or a nap. I think it's the lack of the nap. It's both of the things. We will have a new thing, and you can share, and we've got a sketchbook channel. See, seriously, 1 cup of coffee, new rule, on Discord, and you can share. So if you're a Patreon member, you instantly get access to Discord. If you can't find it, post somewhere well, when I post the sketchbook challenge, I'll post the link, an updated link for Discord, and you can share your sketches over there. Some people like to put tons of time into them. Some people like to do quick sketches. You could do a stick figure if you want. Totally up to you. Let's see. Jason said, do you go anywhere? I do not. I have a lot of animals, and I leave once a week to go buy stuff. Like, usually I go, like if we need to do grocery shopping, I mean, Matt mostly does grocery shopping, but if I want to go to the store, we do that once a week on the weekends. And pet stores are one of my favorite places to go because I like to buy stuff for my critters. It's more fun to buy stuff for them than me. It's really buying stuff for me. Yeah, no, I don't leave the house very often at all. I don't do vacations. Like, I can't leave my reef tank. I mean, I could leave the reef tank, but I would worry the whole time. I wouldn't even have fun because I would just be worried about my animals, because you know the day you leave, that's when the heater crashes. Something goes wrong that Matt's not going to know how to fix, or like, I definitely don't trust a house sitter. I've got all the birds, all that. No, we don't. We leave. I leave the house once a week. Like, I like it here. I made my own little world that I love here, and this is, yes. Let's see. Fly Me to the Moon said, tell us about the little frogs. So I'll show you. Well, I won't show you the other tadpoles because if I lift it up, it messes up the water. But I have tadpoles from so I have San Isabel dart frogs. They're about the size of my thumb, like that. They're little guys. They're the ones you usually hear in the background where it sounds like crickets on crack. That is them. So I love them. I have 2 males and a female, and I grew out some tadpoles. I can actually show you these. These ones finally have front legs popping out. You guys are still in the water, but what I have to do once they're ready to leave the water, when they pop out their front legs, I don't know if you can see, like, they're down here. There's 2 of them right now that popped their legs about the same time. So the cup has to stay at an angle like this, and they can climb themselves up into the moss. Once they climb out all the way, I will move them into my grow out container. Let me show you that. I've got one frog who I'm just waiting for to get big enough to go in with their parents, or his. I actually don't know if it's a male or female. So this is my grow out container. We've got holes in the top. We've got some plants. They're springtails and stuff. Let me see if any of the frogs. I've got one big one. I've got one who has spindly leg syndrome, and I doubt it will live that long, but as long as it wants to live, I'm going to keep feeding it. And he's got his hind leg kind of sticks out funny, so I can't ever put him with them. I would never want him to breed because he's got a defect. But let's see. I don't see any of them moving around right now. I've got one. The big one is jumpy, but she ate yesterday, so she's probably like, meh. Yeah, weird. Oh, I'm seeing fruit flies. Anyway, you don't need to see me sit and stare at this, but that's where the grow out. So once they leave the water, they go into that one, and then when they get big enough, they can go into the big tank with the parents. And that one, actually, I can show you. Let me switch cameras. It won't look right because of the exposure, but I can kind of give you an idea. Let's see. This is the big vivarium. So that's a 40-gallon. Those are all live plants and moss and stuff in there. So that is where they will eventually go. And yeah. But since I moved them, they were in a smaller tank, and when I upgraded them to that one, I decided that I wanted a few more frogs, so that's why I'm growing out some of their tadpoles. They're just not growing out the way they should have, or at the speed they should have, and I'm not sure why. I've tried different foods. I've tried a few different things. I don't know. So those are my the story of the tadpoles. Let's see. Art by MB said, do you come up with subjects to draw, or how do you come up with subjects to draw or paint? I feel like I can't come up with ideas for my work, specifically to teach my students. Senior citizens are hard to please. Yes, they are. You ask them what they want. Honestly, next time you go to teach them, you ask them what you want and you make a list. Most of the seniors that I worked with wanted landscapes and flowers and animals. So that's, you know, from that list, but I would ask them specifically what they want. And that's really what I come up with. So if I had my way, I would pretty much be doing surreal work almost nonstop. But if I do too much surreal work or underwater stuff, you know, my dolphins, corals, fish, all of that. If I do too much of that, patrons start to complain. Patreon is how I pay my bills, and obviously that is very important to me. So I don't get to do as much surrealism as I would like because I do get so many, you know, that's not what most people want, although obviously some people do, so I do need to get those as well. But I come up with it based on, I occasionally will ask people on Patreon what they want. Like this one was a Patreon, actually they wanted a Yorkie and oil pastels. But the oil pastel lesson this week was a request. I had several people request oil pastel, so that's why I did that. So I definitely take requests on Patreon, and for you working with your seniors, ask them what they want and make a list. And obviously some of the suggestions are going to be things that you can't do, like a Yorkie and pound pastel or an oil pastels I could not get done in a 2 hour or hour and a half lesson. Maybe I don't want to do a Yorkie and oil pastels. That fur, that doesn't sound like fun to me. That's not something I would choose this medium for. Now, the person who wanted a Yorkie, I would consider it with pan pastels and colored pencils. So if you're interested in that, let me know if you're watching. But yeah, that I try to do what students are looking for, but I need you guys to let me know too, just like you need to let your students know you want them to tell you what they want, and then do what you can to please them that way. Or like in this case, the person wanted a Yorkie and oil pastels. I could do the oil pastels, not so much with the Yorkie. So, we had to compromise. Do I get to keep this painting? I think I do. I don't think anyone's bid on it. Or my phone's just not refreshing. It could go, yeah, I think I get to keep this one. Again, if you are interested in this, whoops, don't fall away. That is listed, and then it will come matted. It'll look pretty. Wait, wrong way. I'm trying to do this while looking I don't want to smudge it. Stop being lazy. There. It'll be like that. And it sucks though, because you just have to trust me. This is bright stop sign red, and the contrast is so pretty. I hate that it does not photograph well or show well on these cameras, because it is so pretty in person. Okay, but if it doesn't sell, that's okay, because I'm pretty sure my mom will like it. She likes blue things, and she likes yellow. I mean, that's more orange, but whatever. Let's see. Oh, I see what this is. Joseph said the website says 6.5 by 4.5 inches. This is actually a 5 by 7. Yeah, it's a 5 by 7. I don't know why it says that. That is weird. It's a 5 by 7. Why would it say that? Because I would have to actually type that, and I don't know why it says that or where it says that. That's weird. I must have copy pasted one too many times. Let's see. Oh, and then coming up for stuff. One of the things when you're not coming up with stuff for students, when I'm coming up with an idea that I like, one of the things you can do, and I'm actually working on a video that talks more about this, but you guys are, there's not that many of you, 125 of you, so I'll let you in on my secret now. You can use ChatGPT for this. No, it is not AI art then, but you can actually, or ask a friend, give me a list of 10 things. So you can go to like ChatGPT and be like, list 10 household objects and 5 animals. And then pick one of the animals and maybe 3 of the household items. So in my case, I went with a goldfish, and I didn't do ChatGPT. It was just random stuff around my house that I wanted to do. Part of a cactus from my backyard. I taped a fork to it, so a fork from my house, cactus, tape, goldfish. I don't have a goldfish, but I like them and I paint them a lot. So that I knew I wanted a goldfish in this painting. I started with one thing I knew I wanted, and then found random objects. And then I had to think, now how do I fit these things together? In my case, I had the fork taped to the cactus, and then I made the goldfish wear a leash, so it's like a hitching post up on the fork. The hoop is up on that, and then just a clouded background, because again, it's for me, so I was going for colors. I wanted the indigo colors with that lime green cactus and the goldfish, and it's from things around my house. Random crap. Looking around right now, what could I do? I've got a red flower over here. I could do a painting with that, with maybe a cleaner shrimp. I'm looking at the reef tank. I know not everyone's got cleaner shrimp, but whatever. What else could I do? I've got tons of plants in here. I could use any of the plants with the cleaner shrimp, and I've got paintbrushes. So maybe I would do, like, just thinking of those few things. I could do a pretty vase, have some paintbrushes, a flower, and a cleaner shrimp sitting up on the flower. How random is that? And no one in the world has probably painted that. Not like what I'm thinking of there. And it's a way that you can come up with ideas that are completely unique to you. And again, this is not going to work for your students, because they're probably not interested, the senior students probably not going to be interested in that. Some will be, but most probably are going to want your more normal people things. But that's how I come up with a lot of the surreal stuff. I will come up with objects I want. Like I did one, and I'll show that one in the edited video, but I have a giraffe that I did. I knew I wanted a giraffe. I wanted barbed wire. I wanted moths or butterflies. I don't remember which I went with. And I wanted hollyhocks. So those were my elements I wanted. Now, how do I fit those, like so random, but how do I fit those together? So I wrapped the hollyhocks mixed with barbed wire around the neck of the giraffe, and then there's moths sitting, or was it butterflies? I don't even remember now. I draw a lot of things. I don't remember. But this is how I often come up with the idea for the more surreal things is I just pick random objects and then figure out how to fit them together. It's a fun little assignment you can do for yourself, and whenever you can't think of an idea, it definitely works. Let's see. Dina said, what is your advice for artists who don't want to show their face online? I'm self-conscious and prefer just to show my hands and plush basketball that's like my studio assistant. Just do that then. See, that can work for you. If that basketball is in every single photo, people are going to recognize that as you. It works better. Same thing with thumbnails. So when I do my thumbnails for YouTube, this shows you, or if you do Instagram stuff, it performs better if I put myself in them. Part of that's going to be branding, but I get if you don't want to, the basketball can work for you. Or in my case, I'm just thinking of other ideas. If you've got other pets, like for me, French fry is going to be in a lot of my videos. I could get to where I could start putting French fry on the thumbnail and people, or like in the photo next to my art, and people are going to know that's mine because they recognize French fry with my art. In your case, the basketball with the art. It's kind of weird though, the basketball, I like and kind of don't like it. It doesn't have as much, but it might work because it's weird and people like weird. Embrace your weird because that is what people are looking for in an artist, trust me. But does the basketball enhance or detract from the art? Like, you'd have to figure out how to make that work. But yeah, it's hard, and it depends on the kind of art that you're doing. So like if you're doing something that's a really unique, surreal style that not everyone else is doing, it's easy to your art can stand apart. But let's say you're just, and I don't want to say just, but let's say you're a wildlife artist. You are one of millions. Well, maybe not millions, but you're one of thousands of wildlife artists. It's hard to stand apart. And that's where having ourselves with our art helps it to stand apart, because I look different than that artist. Who looks different than that artist, and who looks at, but if you just put all of our art together and we all painted an owl and we're all realism artists, they're all like, they all kind of look the same. Let's be realistic. So not being in it can potentially hurt you. I understand where some people aren't going to want to, and there are artists who refuse to show themselves and it's just the art, and I've seen some artists who continuously say that they make a good living without it, but I also see them post GoFundMes a lot. I follow a lot of artists. So I've seen that happen more often than I can count. So, yeah, no. I'm like, maybe if you showed yourself, you wouldn't need the GoFundMes. I don't know. Don't take offense if you're one of those artists. There's a lot of you that do that. That's just, I always wonder, like, what if you did show yourself, though? And I think I know for me, I was really self-conscious when I first started making YouTube videos of being on the video. I'm like, people are going to make fun of me. They're going to say I'm fat. They're going to say I'm this. They're going to say my hair was ugly. They're going to say this. And they did. They said all those things. It's okay. Like, you're going to have people say nasty things because there are nasty people in this world. And I don't care. Like, I had to realize I don't care about those people, because the type of person who's going to make those comments is not the type of person I care about what they think. Like, good people don't say that to other people. So I don't care I know that is a hard place to get to, but I was so self-conscious about putting myself at all. Like, even talking, like, I didn't even want to give advice. I've been teaching painting and drawing since 1998. I know what I'm teaching. I know what works. I'm confident in that in person. I was so hesitant. My first lesson on YouTube, like a lesson, was how to paint bubbles. I was so expecting, because I know people are nasty on the internet. And at this point, I still worried about what people would say. And I'm like, oh, they're going to tell me it's wrong, that this method doesn't work, and that wasn't the case. I was shocked to see how nice everyone was. Occasionally, I get someone who says something super crude, super inappropriate. I block them and move on, because that person, I'm like, oh, you come up with almost an avatar of those people who are nasty, of what they look like, of what they smell like, because they probably don't smell good, because they're self-conscious themselves. Probably because they don't smell good and live in mommy's basement. That's how I imagine most of the really nasty comments about your physical appearance, about like, I recommend trying to be a little bit more confident with you and show yourself. But again, I understand if there are going to be people who never will, and that's fine. I just feel like if you did show yourself, you're probably going to get a little bit farther, and it makes it mainly because, going back to, I know I've been rambling for a while because 2 cups of coffee and no nap, but it makes it easier to separate your art from the next person's art who's painting something that looks just like yours. And there are a lot of us out there doing a lot of the same thing. You're doing surrealism, it's going to be easier to stand apart. But then again, I can think of a handful of artists that they do occasionally show themselves, but not often, but I still recognize their art enough. Depends on what you're doing. I guess my answer about everything is, well, it depends. It depends on lots of things. I don't know if any of those things help, but, and again, there are artists I know who do very well without showing themselves, and then there are some that could do better if they did show themselves, I think. If it's, safety reasons, God, that would be some people, because stalkers can't show themselves. There are reasons why some people would not want to, and I get that. So in those cases, trying to have maybe the basketball, I don't know, that I feel like a basketball I like that it stands out, but is it also too distracting? Maybe a cat, maybe a plant would look pretty with the art, and you always have a plant next to the art. I don't know. Maybe a crystal? Is that weird? I don't know, like a pretty amethyst thing. Some hippie type thing might look better with the art than the basketball. But if you built a personality around the basketball, I mean, if you did the whole, what was that guy that was on the island? I don't know, Wilson. If you did a whole Wilson thing, was it a basketball or was it a volleyball? I don't know. I never actually saw the movie. But you almost could wrap a personality around that and show that I could see it working. I'm rambling ideas. I'm like brainstorming here with you. So yeah, if it's always there, you might be able to make that work, as long as it's not detracting from the art. But then again, I guess we could say the same art. My face would be detracting from the art. So I don't know. I'm throwing in a bunch of stuff, and it's just things to think about. There's no right answer. You have to figure out what's going to work best for you. So these are random thoughts, brainstorming with you, and you have to figure out what you're comfortable with and what's best for you. In most cases, you being in the art is going to help. It is going to help set yourself apart from the next artist. And if it's, because I know I've heard, and I don't know like you personally, I just know I've seen this a lot where artists were self-conscious. I know I was so self-conscious about putting myself online because I know how nasty people are. But those aren't people you're going to sell to anyway. If somebody says something nasty to me, I don't care. I don't want them to follow me. Go ahead and say it now so I can block them, and trust me, I've had some terrible things said, terrible things people wanted to do to me. I mean, things I can't repeat at all, ever, like ever. So yeah, anyway, that's my rambling about that for a very long time. I don't have a straight answer for you. Those are just things, to consider and figure out what works best for you. Let's see. Okay, Fly Me said, totally my fault. Do you know a way to do the math up? Like, if I paint a 6x8 painting, what would be the next common mat size to use? I don't know what the mat size up. So what I do, and I occasionally do paint something that is like long, it's not a standard 6, let's say I did something, I used 8x10 paper, but the actual artwork was like 6x10. So 8x10 paper, 6x10 is the artwork. So what I would do is I would cut my own mat size. So the inside, it fits the artwork, but the outside fits what an 8x10 would be, which upsizes to what an 8x10, the inside would be 8x10 obviously, but I would cut the inside to be 6x10, and then the outer edge would be 11x14. So it's not the same size all the way around. One side would be thicker and then one side would be a little bit thinner, but as long as they match, it looks nice. Heck, even if it doesn't match, you can do the bottom really thick and the top the same. Like the top and sides be the same and let the bottom be a little bit thicker. That would look really neat, especially if somebody wanted to put like a cool brass plate with the title of the art or whatever, handwrite in with like gold marker. You could handwrite in the title of the painting. I don't know. You got a few options there, but I don't math, so I can't help you too much there, but I know that like if I did a 6 by 10, an 8 by 10 would be the closest, which means I'm going to have to cut my own mat. Outer edge 11 by 14, because that's going to fit your standard 11 by 14 inch frame, and then the inside will be custom. That makes way more sense. I don't know if my explanation makes sense, but it makes more sense to me. Joseph said, critters as friends are also for the critters. What? I don't know what that said. I should stick to 1 cup of coffee. Let's see. We want surrealism and underwater. Sorry for caps. No, I like the caps. I like the excitement. No, and I need to do some. What had happened is I went through a phase where I didn't realize I did like 8, maybe not that many, maybe it was 5 underwater things in a row. And somebody was like, I really just want birds and normal land stuff, like owls and stuff. So yeah, I try to mix it up a bit more, but I typically overdo it then. Then I don't do enough of the other thing because I'm like, somebody complained, so I'm trying to do, that's my own thing and I need to mix it up more. So I am going to do some. Flaming the Moon said, out of all your patrons, what do you think are the percentages that appear in YouTube and Discord? I don't know. Not many. There aren't actually that many. I mean, there are a lot in Discord, but not as many that post regularly. Like it's the same kind of, it's a smaller crowd, which I think is fun. So if you are considering joining Patreon, or not Patreon, well, join Patreon. But if you're considering joining, you are on Patreon and you're considering joining the Discord, it's not so many people that it's overwhelming and you get lost in the crowd. Like you can comment or share something and people are going to see it, which is cool. So yeah. Dina said, the ball is part of my photos. When I stage my art, I do realism and color pencils. Okay, I think I read that one. Yeah, I mean, if you're staging your art with it regularly, then I could see that working. I still think you are better. Unless, like, you don't shower and your hair's all greasy and, like, if you look dirty, then I wouldn't recommend being in your art because as a buyer, I would look at that and go, ooh, I don't know if that, like, is her house dirty? Is, you know, because sometimes you see photos of people and you're like, wow, I mean, could I suggest shampoo? So, you know, if that's you, I doubt that's you. But then I would definitely not recommend including yourself in there. Like I wouldn't recommend, here's one. Don't ever take a photo of yourself smoking a cigarette and then have your art. Because I see that and I'm like, that art is going to smell terrible. Because non-smokers, it always cracks me up how many smokers, like my dad could not understand that I could smell the smoke on him and that it made, like if he sat on the couch, I can smell where you sat. My dad, because he couldn't smell it. Smokers don't smell it. So as a non-smoker, and I'm really sensitive to those smells, I'm like, if I see something and I know it came from a house with smoke, I'm going to be like, ooh, I might have to air that out. I'm going to be hesitant. So, you know, in that case, that would be an extreme case of, but I've seen people do that. Like, oh God, there was a guy, was it on one of my videos or comment? I remember, it was a while ago. I just remember this guy getting super nasty. Maybe it was in a forum. People were talking about smoking and he was going on, I'm not going to smoke around my art. I don't care. And it's like, one, you're yellowing, like you could yellow the paper. Was it a colored pencil thing? It might have, I think it was on a forum. Maybe it was on a YouTube comment. I don't remember. But this guy was like weird about, maybe he made his own video, but he was weird about, I'm not going to not smoke around the art. I don't care. Because somebody was like, I wouldn't buy it. And he's like, I don't care if you're going to buy it if it doesn't. And I'm like, weird, but okay. Like there are certain images, don't stage your art. I've seen this. Oh God, please don't do this. If your home looks like an episode of Hoarders, it happens. Don't post a photo of your art with trash around. Like, don't stage it, clean off a table and take a photo. At least pretend that the art is coming from a clean environment because that would definitely, like, a lot of people are going to see that and go, oh, I'm going to get German cockroaches if I buy something from this home. Like, I have seen some bizarre things that people posted their art and I'm like, well, or even where people post photos of their dogs and stuff like that. And I'm like, but I also know you're an artist. There was someone with Great Danes. This was years and years and years ago. I don't even remember who it was. I just remember seeing this. It may have been in an art group, so I don't think it was one of my friends, like somebody I knew. But they posted their dogs. I think it was Great Danes. Maybe it was Italian Greyhounds. I don't know. This floor was disgusting. Like there were German roaches running. Like you just know they were there. It was so filthy. And it's like you sell, I think they sold custom leashes or something like that. Like there was something that they sold. And I'm like, I would never want something that came out of this home because I would infect my home with your roaches or bed bugs or whatever's going on in here. This is filth. So, you know, these are just all things you want to think about when at least pretend you clean, like pretend the area is clean. Clean out the area you're taking photos of the art. I shouldn't have to say that, but trust me, I have seen things and I'm like, I cannot believe you posted that photo online. I get that it's normal in your world, but it's not to other people, and other people are definitely not going to want to buy something that came out of that house. Oh, that sounds terrible, but it's true. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? Dina said, the ball is part of my, okay, I read that already. Why am I reading that again? Okay, I think I'm caught up and I can actually read these. We've got 15 minutes, so, you know, you want to ask questions so I don't stare at you awkwardly on my, I'm crashing, I'm coming down from that coffee. That lack of nap and too much coffee is hitting me. Art Bambi said, I like your damask paintings. Would love to see another soon. I want to, yeah, I need to. Did you like the damask that I did where it was the more 3D damask or the damask where it was like wallpaper that I airbrushed? Which one do you like? Oh, my back is unhappy with my life choices. Oof. I built a bird cage today. I think I already complained about that, but I'm feeling it now. Jason said, Lisa, I thought that you stepped away from the coffee. I did, but I didn't have a nap today, and my addiction to coffee is real. Like, I look forward to my 1 cup of coffee all day long, and then when it's gone, I'm sad, and I can't wait for the next day when I can have another cup. So, it is serious. And I didn't get to nap, and I felt bad for me, and that is why I had the other cup. Yeah, Ashley said, you know, I don't ever show myself with art. A lot of people have no idea what I look like. Yeah, and there are people who do that, and they make a living with their art. And so it's, I don't want to make you think it's not possible. Ashley is an example. It's obviously possible. She does these really cool, and this is an idea for a lot of you who are selling. She does pet portraits for like Christmas ornament stuff. She does neat things. Really, really cool. I know what you look like though, because I met her. Let's see. So like I said, there are always examples. There's always going to be the outlier of somebody who did make it work. So don't think it can't be done. It's just going to be a bit more challenging, I think. That's a good idea. Nancy said a basketball with the artist's name on it instead of Spalding. I like it. Dina said the ball is in all my stuff. I take her everywhere. Yeah, see, you may be able to make that work then. That is definitely something that you can do. Kristen said staging art makes a huge difference. 100% it has. Oh, completely. Like if I post a photo like this, oh, this is close, so we'll just grab it. If I post a photo and it's just, well, okay, me holding it, it would actually get more attention. Because anytime, and not like, that sounds like I'm being full of myself. It's not anything to do with me personally. Anyone, you hold it, it's going to get more attention. But if I post a photo and it's just like that is not going to get any attention. That looks terrible because it doesn't show the reds. Why do you hate reds, camera? What, seriously, the reds are what make this so pretty. But anyway, I post it like that, doesn't get attention. If I post it like that, like sitting on a counter and it's kind of at an angle, that alone, put a plant next to it and it's kind of triangling, that will get so much more attention from people than just the artwork like front on. And here's the other bonus. Our artwork gets stolen all the time. People are making, for, you know, the China, God, they steal everything. But they are making crap over there for Temu and whatever and trying to sell that stuff. I almost swore. But I didn't. It's an important thing. If your artwork is at an angle like that, they can't just make prints of it. So there's an added bonus. Like a watermark can be easily taken out. You're posting your art staged where it's at a different angle. It's not good for prints anymore. So I think it's a safer way. It's not that somebody can't steal it and claim they painted it. I mean, that can happen still. But they're not making good prints. they can kind of skew it in Photoshop, but it's never going to be very good. So there are a lot of bonuses to staging. It looks better. It gets better, more attention online. I'm sometimes too lazy to do it, but it does. Putting your artwork next, or so like that. The oil pastel's kind of at an angle, so your camera's coming down like this is. I'm trying to make it so it looks right on camera. I can't because the angle of the camera. There's the flat artwork. Camera comes at maybe an angle off to the side here. Set your art supplies. So if I was working in colored pencil, throw some colored pencils just off to the side, maybe an eraser and a pencil, like throw a few of the art supplies around it and kind of layering over it. Those photos always do better for me than just the straight on where you can evenly see the whole thing. Let's see. The airbrush. Oh, you like the easy one for me. Oh, I kind of love you now. I mean, not that I didn't already really appreciate you, but I really appreciate you now because airbrushing the damask background, it's so fast. It's so easy. I love how it looks. Yes, we will be doing that soon. Dina said I staged it with crystals too. Crystals are pretty. I need to buy some because I don't have any good ones. There's a hippie store at a mall in Grapevine I can go to. They sell them. Probably be easier to buy them online though. Let's see. Isaac said, I don't leave the house either. I watch the channel in Paint. I watch my thing lately. I keep watching DUI arrests, or what do they call it in some states? OVI, OV, whatever. I don't know. You make up weird little acronyms. But people who get themselves into trouble because they're drinking and then thinking they're gonna, boozing and cruising. I am addicted to watching other people ruin their lives. I'm a jerk, but I really like those. Or just being arrested for anything. I don't know why that has been like. I've been liking it. Eagle said, previously Python said, Temu will make a mug with a photo of the staged artwork on it. Oh, I know, right? Temu, God. Temu's such crap. I didn't realize how much crap on Amazon. Amazon's getting iffy on some of their stuff. A lot of it's just Temu stuff. The little bees. So those of you who have been getting have won the auctions, you get the little bee in your box. I didn't know that. I bought it on Amazon. They came from Temu. I'm like, oh, people are going to think I'm a Temu shopper, and I'm not. I'm very anti-Temu. Let's see. Art by MB said, I'm addicted to true crime. Yeah, oh my gosh, me too. I think I've watched them all. What's your favorite channel for that? Because I need to look it up in case I've missed some. Let's see. Okay, we got 9 minutes. Let's not just stare awkwardly. What do you guys want to talk about? I'm trying to think. What else do we have to tell you? I get to go shop for a birdcage cover when we're done here for Matt's new Loki. Ashley said, OMG, I've been watching those videos too. My favorite of the DUI videos, they're usually DUI, Ragical. Look up, is that just the name of the channel? This guy, he's from the Netherlands. Do you not watch Around Your Children? He swears a lot. So freaking funny. Let me see. Is it Ragical? I think he had a new one today too. So I should be, here we go. Yeah, Ragical the Unhallowed Knight. Look up his channel, his commentary. He is hilarious. He's my favorite, I guess, reaction type thing. I don't really like reaction videos, but the ones to those I love. Let's see. Baby Panda said, you would like On Patrol Live. Oh, I have to look I need something to write with, and oil pastel is not the answer to my thing. Somebody messaged me on Discord that, because I don't have anything to write. I'm an artist with nothing to write on or write with. Something is bad. But I want to look at that. Let's see. Casual Criminalist is one of my favorite true crime channels. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go back and watch this part of the video later because I need to see. Let's see. Can you put acrylics over pan pastel? You can. I can't think of a single reason why I would want to, because you're going to get paste because acrylics have water in it and it's going to stick weird in the pastels. If you put enough Spectrafix, you'd probably be okay. In theory, no, wait. I don't know. Because pastels, do you say pastels or pan pastels? Pan pastels, I am not sure what the ingredients are, but they feel oily to me. I don't know if there's a wax or an oil in there, and I think there is. And if that's the case, then no, because you wouldn't want to put a water-based product over the wax or oil. So I'm not sure on that. I'm almost positive no, because I think there's something else in them that in pan pastels that would make that not work. So I want to say no. Also, I don't think it would. I don't think it's a good idea anyway. Coffee House Crime I watched. I was actually halfway through that earlier. I haven't finished today's episode. The other ones I haven't heard of, so I need to go look those up. Okay, I got that one. Joseph says, I watch OPL with my sister every week. OPL, what does that stand for? I don't know what that one is. Let's see. I just watch repeats of how it's made. I never got into those. I've seen a few, but they're one of those things that it's like every once in a while I'll watch one and then I just get bored. You know, because nobody is getting arrested. Let's see, usually. Their caption writer is always on point. I need to look that up. Eric said, will signing my oil paintings with a Posca marker hurt the oil painting? I don't know what are the Posca markers? I feel like I know. Have I used those? Is that the oil marker? I don't know, but I wouldn't use it anyway. I would not use any sort of marker on an oil painting. I would just play it safe and just sign it with a paintbrush. Like learn to use your liner brush and sign it with a paintbrush, because it always, even if, so like acrylic paints, there are acrylic markers that are perfectly safe to sign your work with. And it is so freaking obvious you signed it with a marker. Like it doesn't fit the rest of the painting. It's an eyesore. I don't like the look of an acrylic. Like I just think it's an eyesore every time. Use a paintbrush. Be a professional. Let's see. Will it flake off? I'm not sure, because I'm not sure of the ingredients in that. I don't want to give you bad. Oh, it will flake off, Eagle said. So, okay. Eagle probably knows better than I do on that one, because I'm not sure what they are. OPL, another person, maybe Panda's mentioned. OPL, On Patrol Live. Okay. That was the one you mentioned earlier. I need to go find that out. When SGWW said the disturbing truth is that monsters are truth and this, oh, those are the names. The disturbing truth and this is monsters are a couple others. Okay, I'm definitely going to come back and write all of these down. Let's see, Live on Patrol. It plays on on the Peacock Network. Yeah, see, I don't have TV. If it's not on YouTube, I can't watch it. 9:56. We have 4 more minutes to ramble to each other. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there was anything else interesting going on. I need to come up with this week's project. I am tempted to do oil pastels again so I can show the other style, and because I'm lazy and they're already all out, but maybe not. I also really want to start a surreal one, so maybe I'll just start designing that. One SGWW said, I know I'm with my people here as we all list shows. Yeah, is it weird? I always think it's weird. Like, why am I enjoying 48 Hours and all those? Like, I watch all of those, and I'm like, oh, I already know what this crime one happened. I watched this channel do a story about it, but now I want to watch this one because they may have more information. Like, what is wrong with me that I'm obsessed with these shows? Hoarders. Matt doesn't understand me and my love of the show Hoarders. It's fascinating. Like, maybe because I'm a clean freak with stuff, and so Hoarders is like is far away from my personality type, so it's like fascinating to see something so opposite of what makes sense to my brain. So there's something wrong with me. Let's see. One of my new books, I'm really excited. My favorite book series is one of my favorites, The Chronicles of Elantra. It's a hard one because I can't like tell somebody, hey, get started with this, because there's a million of the books. It's like book 14 or 15 now, I don't know. And not like they're slow. They are slow. But I love the character development. I love them so much. It's my favorite narrator in the world, Christine Vam. And the newest one just came out yesterday. And so I'm super excited because when this wraps up, I get to go play with my baby bird, which basically means it's nighttime. So he's going to crawl into the back of my hair and nest back there while I listen to my book and probably play World of Warcraft. I think this sounds like a good plan. Maybe have some tea. Yes. tea is definitely in going to happen. Okay, let's see. Live on Patrol is more like Cops than 48 Hours, just so you know. Okay, yeah, a lot of those, like the shows with the DUI stuff and all that, would be more like Cops. I don't like the ones, the Cops type thing, where they go so much to some. No, there are some things. What was the one that I don't like? The First 48. I can't stand that one. I just never get into those. It's like, is this the same episode every single time? They're just, those ones I don't like. Eagle says, Hoarders makes my house feel clean. You know what? Maybe that's what I like too. It always makes me feel really good about, okay, my closet kind of looks like an episode of Hoarders. And I'm like, look, it's not so bad because theirs is worse. But yeah, that's the one thing I don't. My closet and my garage, actually. I wish my garage was not in the front of my house, because it's like, close it quick before neighbors see. They're going to think my whole house looks like that. The stack of Amazon boxes. Oh, dear God. Anyway, let's see. Ashley says, I watch Hoarders to feel better about my life. You know, I think, too, that's one of the things that I like about watching people get arrested for DUIs, especially the ones that have tantrums, because you watch that going, no matter how bad my day was, no matter what somebody said to me that was just sucked, I did not ruin my life like that person just did. I don't know. It makes everything seem good. Hoarders as well. Let's see, our baby B says, I always feel better about myself when I watch that. I can say, well, at least I'm not that bad, right? Okay, 10 o'clock, it hit 10. We are good. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Let me know, leave a comment later, like when this video ends, leave a comment in the comments. Let me know what you want me to see me, what words. My tea is going to be decaf, in case you were worried. But let me know what you want to see, whether it be this upcoming one, whatever subject matter and medium that you want to see in for our live streams. Or if you're on Patreon, you can request much more advanced things. Whatever you guys want, let me know. You can let me know in Discord. You can let me know on Patreon. Send me a message, whatever. I definitely take requests. And I will see you guys next week. Check out our moderators' channels. Links are in the video description. Joseph and Clark Fine Art both have live streams almost every single week, unless something goes terribly wrong with their devices or internet or whatever. Nick Fine Art, his last one, I think, was the digital painting one. He doesn't make videos often, but they're good when he does, so check that out. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you again, and I think that is it. Bye!